The world's most elite performers don't rely on willpower. Instead, they discovered systematic friction to achieve consistency without effort.
That's a huge claim. I
Wait,
mean, especially in a culture that just worships the whole idea of the grind.
It does. It sounds like some kind of infomercial promise, I know. But stick with me. Today I'm sharing 10 strategies to automate your habits, even if you describe yourself as lazy. This is how I went from chronic procrastination to writing a book in 30 days.
Okay, I'm listening.
So let's unpack this. We have to start with a total reframe of how we even view work. The source material is really adamant about this. It says, stop trying to force yourself to work. Gritting your teeth is just not sustainable. It leads to burnout.
And if you look at the neuroscience, that force you're talking about, that's your prefrontal cortex just burning through glucose. Willpower isn't really a metaphor. It's a biological resource.
It gets tired.
It gets tired, just like a muscle. So if your whole strategy is, oh, I'll just try harder tomorrow, you're scientifically guaranteed to fail.
Because you're betting on something that runs out.
It depletes all day long. So the goal isn't to get better at, exerting effort.
The goal is to remove the need for the decision in the first place.
Exactly. To remove it entirely. We're looking for automation, not exertion.
I love that. Okay, so we have 10 tactics to get us there. In the next 15 minutes, you are going to learn 10 specific tactics to replace willpower with systems.
Let's do it.
All right, so we have to start at the very bottom of the pyramid, the foundation. Before we touch an app or a calendar, we have to look at identity.
The concept flip, as the source calls it.
Yes.
And this is really where most people get the order of operations wrong. We tend to focus on the outcome.
Right, like, I want to lose 20 pounds, or
I want to write a book. But the argument here is that behavior is actually a lagging measure of your identity.
So it's that old fake it till you make it advice.
Well, see, I'd actually push back on that phrase. Fake it sort of implies you're an imposter. This is more about evidence. If you tell yourself, I want to quit smoking, you're still identifying as a smoker who is trying to do something.
But if you say, I'm not a smoker,
you're shifting the identity itself.
But doesn't that just feel a little, I don't know, delusional? If I'm sitting on the couch eating chips, telling myself I'm an athlete, it just feels wrong.
It feels delusional at first, sure.
Yeah.
But think about cognitive dissonance. The human brain hates it.
The contradiction.
Yes, that psychological stress when our actions don't line up with our self-image. If you start to truly see yourself as an athlete, well, eating those chips creates a kind of mental friction.
So you change the behavior to get rid of the tension.
Precisely. Not even to get the result, just to resolve that internal conflict. You're not doing a thing, you're being a person. Runners run, writers write.
And when that identity is locked in, the decision fatigue just vanishes.
Because people like me do things like this.
Okay, so if identity is the internal software, we need to upgrade the hardware. That's the environment.
Which brings us to systematic friction, the 20-second rule.
I love this one.
It's my favorite because it just admits that we are, fundamentally lazy organisms.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's biology. Conserve energy.
Right.
Yeah.
And the rule is so simple. Make bad habits 20 seconds harder to start.
And good habits 20 seconds easier.
Yeah, and that 20 seconds, it's really just shorthand for activation energy. Think of it like a spark. It's that little bit of effort you need to get something going.
So why do we mindlessly scroll on our phones?
Because the phone is already in your hand. The activation energy is basically zero.
It's frictionless.
Completely.
Ooh.
But what if you put your phone in another room?
Oh.
Or even better, what if you had to re-download the Instagram app every single time you wanted to check it?
Oh, I'd never check it. I've done the batteries out at the remote trick.
Tell me.
I wanted to watch TV. Realized I had to walk to the kitchen drawer, get the batteries.
Yeah.
And I picked up a book instead.
You were literally too lazy to be lazy.
Exactly.
And that is the 20-second rule applied perfectly. You didn't increase your willpower. You just manipulated the friction so the good choice was easier.
It's kind of humbling to realize how easily we're manipulated by these tiny inconveniences.
We're simple creatures. If you want to go to the gym, sleep in your gym clothes.
If you want to play guitar, don't put it in the case in the closet.
Leave it on a stand in the middle of the room. You'll trip over it. You'll play it.
Okay, so we've tweaked our identity and our environment. Now we need to structure the actual behavior. This brings us to the mechanics.
The how-to part.
Exactly. And the first mechanic is habit stacking. The source says most new habits fail because they just sort of float in a void.
That's a great way to put it. We say things like, I'm going to start meditating.
But when? Where?
Right. In the car, before bed. Without a specific trigger, the habit depends on you just randomly remembering to do it. And you won't.
So you need an anchor.
Yes. The neuroscience term for this is Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. You want to find a neural pathway that's already a superhighway.
Like making coffee in the morning.
Perfect. Making coffee, brushing your teeth, and you graft the new habit right onto it. So the formula is, after my current habit,
I will do my new habit.
after I pour my coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. The coffee is now the trigger.
You're outsourcing the reminder to your existing routine.
You are.
But does this work for big stuff? I mean, coffee and meditation is one thing, but what about after I brush my teeth, I will write a novel? That seems like a bit much.
You're right, and that's the trap. People try to stack too much. The stack has to be reasonable. It should be, after I brush my teeth, I will open my laptop.
Oh, so you're just stacking the entry point.
You're just stacking the start. That's it.
That makes so much more sense. Okay, so once we've started, we need to know we're making progress, which leads to the visual scoreboard.
Right. This fixes the feedback loop problem.
What's that?
Well, in a lot of modern work, our labor is invisible. You send an email, poof, it's gone. You write some code, it's in the cloud. We don't have, like, a pile of the chopped wood to show for our day.
Which is why the source brings up the Seinfeld Strategy, the big wall calendar.
It's legendary. The story goes, Jerry Seinfeld used this huge year-at-a-glance calendar for writing jokes.
And every day he wrote, he put a big red X on that day.
A big red X. And the goal wasn't write a hilarious joke. It was just
Don't break the chain.
don't break the chain. And that psychological switch is just massive. When you see a chain of 15 X's in a row, you have sunk cost working for you. You don't want to lose what you've built.
It gamifies the process.
It creates a physical artifact of your discipline. And honestly, there's a little dopamine hit you get just from drawing that X that closes the loop.
But what about habit tracker apps on my phone? Is that the same thing?
I mean, it can be, but the source makes a really good point that physical is better.
Why?
An app is hidden inside the very device you're trying to avoid, the phone. A calendar on your wall. It just stares at you. It's an ambient reminder. You can't just swipe it away.
Good point. You can't ignore a giant red chain in your hallway. Okay, so let's move on. We have the foundation, we have the mechanics. But let's be honest, sometimes the work is just boring.
Or lonely, yes. This is where we get into the motivation. How do we keep the engine running after the novelty is gone?
Which brings us to tactic 5, temptation bundling. The failure point here is identified as boredom.
Yeah, we crave dopamine, and doing laundry or, filling out spreadsheets is very low dopamine work. So temptation bundling is basically hacking your own reward system.
It uses something called Premack's principle.
Right, which is a behavioral theory. It just says that a more probable behavior will reinforce a less probable one.
In plain English.
You pair something you love with something you kind of hate.
So, I only let myself listen to my favorite true crime podcast while I'm scrubbing the floors.
Exactly. You are holding that podcast hostage. You can only have it if you do the chore.
I actually do this. I'm only allowed to drink my really fancy cold brew coffee while I'm doing my deep work writing sessions.
No writing, no coffee.
No writing, no coffee.
And I bet you start to look forward to the writing just to get the coffee.
I really do. It's completely Pavlovian at this point.
See? That's the power of it. You're not using willpower to force the work. You're using the work as a gateway to the treat.
But sometimes a treat isn't enough. Sometimes you need a threat.
Which brings us to the next tactic, the accountability pact.
The failure point here being isolation.
Yeah, it's just so easy to let yourself off the hook when no one else is watching.
But people get this wrong all the time, don't they? Saying, hey, hold me accountable, usually just means ask me if I did the thing, and then be super nice when I say I didn't.
That's not accountability, that's just social support. Which is nice, but doesn't change your behavior. The source is very specific. You need costly stakes.
We're talking about actual pain, financial pain.
Or social humiliation, yeah. There's this concept called an anti-charity. You give a friend, say, $100. If you fail your habit, if you don't write your chapter by Friday, they don't give the money back.
They donate it.
They donate it to a political organization that you absolutely despise.
Oh, that is evil. I love it.
It's so effective. Loss aversion is a powerful, powerful motivator. We will fight 10 times harder to keep $100 than we will to gain $100.
And the thought of my money going to that cause, Yeah, I'd get the chapter written.
It creates instant urgency.
Oh.
It takes a vague goal like, I should probably write more, and turns it into, I must write now or I will suffer immediate painful consequences.
Okay, so we've covered rewards and punishments. Let's do a quick reset. We are over halfway through. We've done identity, environment, mechanics, and motivation. Now we need to talk about safeguards.
Things that protect us from, well, from ourselves.
And the first one is about protecting us from our own ambition. This is tactic number 7, microsteps.
It's so counterintuitive. We have this tendency, to go from 0 to 100. I haven't run in 5 years, so tomorrow I'm going to run 5 miles.
And 3 days later, you can't walk and you've quit for good.
Exactly. You blow a fuse, the system breaks down. The fix is to make the hurdle so low it's almost laughable. So low, it's impossible to say no.
The famous example from the source is floss one tooth.
Which sounds completely ridiculous.
It does. I mean, who's going to get out the floss just for one tooth?
But that's the genius of it. Because once you're standing there and you're holding the floss and you've done one tooth,
You might as well finish the job.
you might as well finish. The friction was in starting, not in the act itself.
So for my book, the microstep wasn't write a chapter. It was write one sentence.
And on your worst day, when you were sick, exhausted,
Yeah.
could you still write one single sentence?
Yeah, of course.
And so the chain on your calendar stayed unbroken. The identity of writer stayed alive.
Yeah.
That's the real win. You never let the habit die completely.
It kills that all or nothing mindset.
Okay.
Tactic number 8. This deals with a different enemy, our future self.
Ah, yes, future self. That heroic, disciplined person we imagine who, it turns out, is just as tired and lazy as we are today.
We always assume future me will have the willpower to resist the donut.
It's the cognitive bias. It's called present bias. We overvalue the immediate reward, and we totally undervalue the long-term cost.
Yeah.
So to fix this, we need pre-commitment.
This is the Ulysses Pact, right? Tying yourself to the mast so you can't be tempted by the sirens.
That's it exactly. You are restricting your future self's choices while you're still in a rational state of mind.
So like locking apps on your phone.
Right. At 10 in the morning, you're rational. You know you shouldn't be scrolling Instagram at midnight. But at midnight, you're basically a zombie.
So you use an app blocker.
You set an app blocker that automatically locks your phone at 10 p.m. You're taking the keys away from the drunk version of yourself.
That's a harsh way to put it.
But it's accurate.
Yeah.
You're admitting you can't trust future you, so you make the decision now. It removes the need for willpower later because the choice is literally off the table.
That's great. It's like admitting defeat in a small battle to win the war. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Optimization and mindset. Tactic 9 is about energy management.
We talk so much about time, but energy is the real currency. You can have all the time in the world, but if your brain is fried, it doesn't matter.
And the concept here is the who, not how.
This is such a classic productivity trap. We hit a problem like, I need a website for my business.
Yeah.
And our default question is, how do I build a website?
And then you lose 3 weeks learning a new platform and getting completely frustrated.
And you've depleted all your willpower for the thing you're actually good at. The better question is always, who can do this for me?
But that sounds expensive. Not everyone can just go hire someone.
But a who doesn't have to be a person. It can be a tool, a template, a piece of software. The point is to stop spending your premium fuel on cheap miles.
Protect the asset. And your brain is the asset.
Exactly.
Which brings us right to the final point, number 10, the mindset shift. We've built the systems, we've tricked our brains, but what does it actually feel like to live this way?
This is the hard truth nobody ever posts on social media. The source says it plainly. Fall in love with boredom.
That line, you are allowed to be repetitive. That one really hit me.
We're so addicted to the highlight reel. We want the launch party, the finish line, the applause. But mastery. Mastery is just doing the same rep, writing the same kind of sentence, practicing the same scale over and over and over again.
It's the difference between an amateur and a pro. The amateur gets bored and starts looking for a new hack.
And the pro gets bored and keeps going. That is often the only difference. The elite performers we talked about at the start, their lives are incredibly routine. From the outside, it probably looks pretty boring.
But that boredom is the signal that the system is actually working.
Yes. If your life feels chaotic and exciting and you're always putting out fires, your system is broken. If it feels calm and automatic and maybe a little boring, you're winning.
And the source says, if you master systems, your dream life stops being a chase and becomes your default setting.
That's it. That's the whole game. It's
Yeah.
no longer something you have to strive for. It's just who you are and what you do.
It's not about heroic effort. It's about a quiet consistency that makes the result almost inevitable.
That's the definition of success in this framework.
Okay, so let's just recap the architecture we built here. We really covered three big categories.
You started with that internal shift, identity and environment. You have to be the person, and you have to build a space that makes it easy.
Then we got into the practical stuff, the mechanics and motivation, stacking new habits, keeping score on a calendar, bundling temptations.
And finally, the safeguards and mindset. Using microsteps to avoid burnout, pre-committing against our worst impulses, and, learning to accept that boredom is the price of admission.
It just completely dismantles this idea that you need to be some kind of superhero to get things done.
You just need to be a good architect.
A good architect of your own life.
Which I think raises a really important question for everyone listening. If we accept that our results are just a product of our systems,
And that willpower is a failed strategy.
then what is the one system failure that is causing 80% of your stress right now? Is it your environment? Is it a lack of feedback? Or are you just trying to do way too much at once?
That's the homework. Don't beat yourself up for being lazy. Look for the broken system. And hey, maybe start by just flossing one tooth tonight. Thanks for diving deep with us. Go fix that system.
Productivity is not a destination, it's a system. To build the next part of your system, click the video on the screen right now. It's the perfect next step. I'll see you there.